All right then, chap. I guess. Have I updated the coal mine? I need to update that one. New coal mine was actually added, so I don't need to worry about that one. That one's been done. Take that one off. That was ages ago. I need to update you, don't I? So you become a tick. Well, it's kind of a question mark because I've still got stuff to do. Is it a question mark? Man, imagine not having a question mark. How annoying. Oh well. It'll have to do. Right. We got a bunch of things to do here. So many things to do. I do need to change Lazy Hermit Coal Mine, though, to Lazy Hermit Abandoned Mine. Okay, done. You know what, though? No, we do actually need another iron mine over here. Okay, I'm going to need a name for that mine before I get that all set up, but we're slowly getting rid of all of the mines on the map, which is good. Normally, I would have already been through all of these. The settings I usually play on with my solo games, I do not get a lot of resources until you go very far out, which necessitates the use of trains. Mind showing what your Gleba looks like? Sure. Not a problem at all, Jessica. Remember to add the final mines to the new iron mine. There are still a few. Yeah, no, we haven't finished sorting that one out yet. Right, so Gleba. Gleba is a mess. It is continuing to be a mess, but, you know, it is my mess, and I love it. Honestly, the train system could have been done in so many better ways. I succumbed to trying to make everything fit with what room I had, and that didn't work. Not as much as I would have liked it to anyway. The other thing is we don't have any cliff explosives, so we're trying to fit in around so many annoying little bumps and lumps on the map. Would be greatly enhanced if I had access to cliff explosives, because I could actually start planning this out a lot better. But there is something to be said about the organic look to it. I will zoom in a moment, don't worry. But yeah, chat did vote for Volgora, and we're going to be honoring that vote. We are going to be heading to Volgora as the next planet, so we're not going to have cliff explosives until the very last. They've literally given me the planet in the reverse order, I think, from the typical, the typically suggested route to take, which is Vulcanus, and then Volgora, and then finally Gleba. We went Gleba first, and then we're going to go to Volgora next. Right. Yeah, you do have basically unlimited power on you have unlimited everything on Gleba. Gleba is amazing for that. So here we'll start with the farms. This is the basic setup that I've got for my farms. Somewhat, I mean, I'm not going to say heavy defenses, but they're certainly effective. We've got effective defenses for dissuading the Glebans, big minefields for dealing with stompers and the likes. Though I do wonder if maybe I should have those minefields be further out than they are. There is something to be said about that, I think. Can I get all of that chopped up? Yes, I can. There we go. Perfect. Let's just get all of that gone. We have got 2 Yamako farms. We've got 2 jelly nut farms. The way the farms work, unfortunately, this one has no seeds, so we're waiting on a delivery over here, sadly. We've got the farms start being active when a train is on the way. I wish there was a way, kind of like in RimWorld, where you've got the ability to tell a farm to only plant, or plant and cut, or just cut. So you can sow, you can harvest, and you can do those independently, or you can do both. Right now, what I try to do is when a train is heading to the station or is at the station, the farm is active. That way it doesn't harvest fruit until there's a need for it. But it does mean it also doesn't plant the fruit until there's a need for it. So the ideal situation is when the farm is there, the train is there just long enough that it's getting some activity. There we go. So it's going to start getting a little bit from that. So that was enough to allow the tree to some of the seeds to be planted there. I wish this was a better location, honestly, but I picked poorly that one. Once this farm is fully set up, which is something I desperately need, I will be taking this tick off. This is basically disabling this farm. And I've thought about a circuit that I could put in there to achieve the same thing. Because right now, this farm is not defended. It hasn't finished building its defenses, so if the farm is active, it pulls in aggression, and then that causes all sorts of problems. And so I have considered building a circuit that doesn't allow the farm to turn on for the first time until the whole place is being completely constructed. And then from that point on, it just works as normal. But this is the most successful farm. This is our Yamako farm over here. Though it is out of seeds as well. So we're waiting on a delivery of seeds from one of the supply trains. I would have liked to have built a system where the trains that collect fruit also take seeds to the farms as well. But it's not what we've got. So right now we're just using a single supply train. There are lots of ways that I can improve this, to be honest. There's not just one problem here, and it would be greatly improved through a number of different things that we could do. Dapumu, thank you very much for the raid, mate. Welcome. How was your stream? But ignoring that for now, it basically runs well enough. The pollution is somewhat managed. The trains try to visit the farm that was the in reverse order of how frequently they've been visited, or how recently rather. So these numbers are the priority of the farms, and they go up with time. So a train looking for Yamako fruit will next time go to this farm rather than this one, because it's going to have the higher priority. And that way, the idea was to have many farms spread out, like 4 or 5 of each maybe. And that way, each farm is only really active for a very short burst, and then it goes idle, it goes dormant for a long time. And by doing that, you spread out the spore concentration and just keep them to these little spikes of spores that then get eaten by the environment before causing a stomper attack. We're trying, where possible, to have as low of an impact on the Gleben fauna as we can. Not specifically just to reduce damage done, because honestly, once the defenses are up, they can't really get through it. The factory is able to repair the defenses fast enough. But to simply, A, slow down the progression of their evolution, but also B, just so because we don't have to, I guess. But in terms of everything else, so this is the stacker. This is my supply train that goes to their various outposts and delivers needed supplies. This is the stone train. All of the trains are cargo agnostic, so there is only one set of interrupts for them. We've got this one. If it has cargo in its inventory, then it will go to an unloading station and empty that inventory out. But normally, so that one's mostly used by the supply train, which, because an outpost might not need everything it brings, like it brings a bunch of walls, bunch of ammo, it might only need one thing out of that list, and so it might end up with items. It'll come over here and drop it all off. And then the main one is if a okay, you're already going. Let me scroll back down. If a providing station is available for a resource and a requesting station is available for that resource, then it goes to the providing station, tries to load up, but it doesn't necessarily wait for a full load because I don't always have enough fruit for that. And then it goes to the the requesting station and unloads it. With a certain caveat, there are certain signals that will say, "Hey, you know, just leave," if that's the case. And that one is actually an important one, as that helps out a little bit with unloading of the fruit, which does sometimes need me to clear the stations a little bit. Then we have got the depot, which is where they go to. They just pull in here, and will get refueled. They wait until they're fully fueled before they head back out. And also they'll unload anything that they have at this point. Normally they shouldn't have anything here, but this was just a fail-safe because sometimes I used personal trains and they would have gubbins. So it just puts it back into availability on the network. As for the actual factory itself, so fruits and such get brought up here. This system is able to kickstart bioflux and nutrient production just from fruit being provided, because they'll do it in assemblers. Then we've got down here, this area is making eggs, this area is making plastic. All of these kind of work off the idea of local supply. So this main line just takes fruit, and the bioflux and the nutrient that's on this line is only there to kickstart the power production facility for each module. Each kind of module, so this is the hatchery, this is the egg fabrication module, has its own power source that should, under normal circumstances, be able to keep it rolling. It seems to be stalling here, though, for some reason. Why is that, out of curiosity? You have not got enough bioflux to produce nutrients, and this place doesn't have enough Yamako mash. Really? Are you not able? Oh, it's because you can't get rid of the rot. Yeah, there are several inefficiencies that I desperately want to fix. But it works good enough for now, because basically the system goes through feast and famine. It'll work for a bit, then it'll get clogged, and once it gets clogged, it empties itself out, and then this restarts the whole process again. So it's able to, I'm not going to say it's elegantly dealing with the problem, because it is basically completely stalling. But it is able to, it's basically, this is my try-catch loop. If you're familiar with software development, this factory throws an error cyclically. There is a problem in the code, and that causes the factory to crash. And when it crashes, this catches the crash. It catches the error, and then reboots the factory. So while it isn't working well, it will never stop working. It is able to recover from a crash state. And honestly, this is probably the finest bit of this factory. The fact that the factory can reboot itself from fruit alone, no other input whatsoever. And as we can see down here, it's now rebooted, so that's working again. I am building my Gleber to burst produce my science when my ship arrives. That's actually really clever, to only produce the science when the ship arrives. I find it hard to do, though. Though that being said, I guess I could just incinerate all of the eggs until I need the science, but I just use the eggs up. So it's producing everything down these lines, and then it's got like basically a waste disposal lane, and that's causing a lot of the problems because it's constantly getting jammed. I need to do something better with that. Where I can, I turn any excess rot into carbon, which gets fed all the way down here. These are my bacteria cultivation farms, but as you can see, an enormous amount of rot is being just burnt off pointlessly. Rot barely even pays the energy cost. Like, burning rot barely provides enough energy to run the inserter that was used to burn it, or to move it into the burner. And that's why I've got a couple of these as burner inserters. These are my fail-safe inserters if everything else breaks. Like, again, the best part of this factory is the fact that it is capable of restarting itself if it completely shuts down. So these are able to bring the temperature of the boiler back up a bit, just by virtue of the fact that they are burner inserters. And there's always going to be enough rot in the system for that to work. And then this is the factory. I would like it if this part was elsewhere and keep the bio factory and the factory isolated from one another, but it works well enough. I've got a basic ball, enough to produce everything I need for the planet to be able to do a little bit of extra work remotely. I can expand the mines, I can expand the farms to some degree. I actually do need to set up a production for the actual tree farm element, but I'm not going to worry about that one too much right now. I can like hobble together everything I need to build it on the fly. I just didn't do it before I left, but I made sure I had the means to do it, you know, remotely before I left. This place is almost finished actually, which is amazing. I just need a couple of the power poles to be done, and this place will start bringing itself online. How are we doing with that right now? You're mostly good, yeah. Where are you headed next? Because if it's over here, then we'll probably see the main part of this factory come back online. We'll see. The thing is, I don't know which route you want to take, which is annoying sometimes. Unless that is indicated. No, it's not indicated. That whole factory is currently disabled. I'm just waiting to see if it's going to head off. It hasn't fully gotten everything that it wanted, unfortunately. There's some things that it lacked. Oh, no. Did I just load something? Must have. Oh, what are we loading then? If I look down here, I can see what things are remaining. Oh, we're not quite where we want to be with walls yet. All laser towers, all guns, all the bots. That doesn't surprise me though. The bots are, we're hobbling them together right now. Nothing in the main part of the factory is being done quickly over here, unfortunately. It is the way it is though. I'm not going to worry too terribly much. Right now, because this is building out a whole new area, and my defenses are quite expensive, if I'm perfectly honest. When I'm building a new area, this massively stalls the supply train, like in a huge way. We might be waiting here a while before this one heads off. So in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell it to go. And it was heading up here. So it's not actually going to deliver much. So, you know, on the plus side, that's fine. Not many things are going to be pulled out here. It only needed a few odds and sods removed from the system. And then gets redistributed. And now that's done. It's going to head back. Oh, really? It's not... Oh, that was interesting. Oh, it's because I messed around with it and I told it to go a little bit earlier. And as a consequence, this wasn't complete. So it dropped off everything there. Under normal operation, I should have removed that before that happened. Under normal operation, it would have dropped all of that off here. And then it's a very short trip for the bots to deliver it over to the requester chest here. Which is the way it's intended to work. Also, that is now completely broken. It doesn't know what it's doing. So I'm going to tell it no. And yeah, I'm sorry I messed with you, okay? I was trying to show you off. And in my efforts, I have broken you. I am so sorry. Hopefully, this train will leave soon so that this one can drop off the stuff that it's currently holding on to, because that's the whole point of this design, is that one train doesn't hold on to stuff that it might not be using. Yeah, we have some solar panels. So again, the system is capable of kind of staying online power-wise. That's not a huge issue. Right, there we go. That'll all be delivered to the bots down here. But which station are you going to be going to next? That one is a 1. This one is a... this one is... Your priority 13. Your priority... Where are you? Oh, your priority 16. Okay, so you're probably going down there next. And you... Are you really only priority 4? Huh. Kind of shocked by that. Oh, well, anyway, we're not going to be able to hang around then long enough to see that in action, sadly. But that's my Gleba base so far. It's a hot mess, but it's my mess, and I love it. We're going to, before I leave, just clear up a little bit. Going to see a Gleben attack, actually. So there we are. Stitching ourselves back together. The mines are doing a brilliant job. I fancy these mines are more effective than the ultra-dense mines, if I'm honest. I think these blow up a little bit too quickly and don't do enough damage to the stompers. But let me just clear up this line, because then these lines will also be available to the rest of the factory. Do not need all of these. Definitely don't need all of those. Guess I'll keep some of them though. Just in case. That isn't connected anymore, so don't need that. As it happens. You know what, I may as well just replace that. I'll shut down a couple of things, but it's okay. It'll get rebuilt in a moment. There we go. But yeah. Okay, so that's my Gleba. How can a yellow inserter stall where a burner inserter won't? Asked Duffelfish. A yellow inserter requires power to work, and a burner inserter has enough power to power itself from whatever it's lifting. It's only useful if it's moving combustible materials into like a boiler or a heater. Because if there's combustible materials there, the first thing it'll do when it's running out of power is it will take one and use it for itself and then continue to load. That's why it's a fail-safe. And yeah, you're saying, well, if you didn't have power, you've got bigger problems. But yes, you have got bigger problems if you haven't got power. And that burner inserter solves those bigger problems. It's like, goodness. What part of fail-safe do you not understand, my dude? It's to fail safely. Jessica says, I got quite lucky. Found 2 massive island clusters which could be connected by, at most, a rare power pole on Volgora. Oh, cool. I haven't been to Volgora yet, so that's all voodoo for me right now. All right, okay, so that is Gleba. We took a little bit of a skip there to check that out. Do I have... Yes, I've got enough mines. Right, it's time for me to go and do stuff. Oh well. That's going to be what it is for now. Let's get over to our iron mine. A little bit of wanton tree destruction on the way. Also, Matten popped their name in game. Okay. I guess we know what this mine is going to be named then. Let's park there. Might as well clean the place up while I'm here. And move you as well. Alright. Definitely don't need all of those. The ore patch was just along the coast, and I refuse to leave it there. So we'll remove those as necessary. So this will be the Matten Iron Mine. Got Stone Quarry. Why do I say ore mine? Of course it's ore. This isn't RimWorld. We're not mining compacted steel out of the walls. There we go. There we are. Much better. Right. So, new tag. There you go, Martin. Question then, Aavak. When Gleben what Gleben research have you done so far? Rockets. We're currently working on Spidertron. So stuff that actually took the Gleben research. Is there a way that I can just search for only things that require that? I'm not sure there is, sadly. But yeah, we've taken 1 point in health. We have the stack inserters. We have some levels in productivity. And we're presently researching Spidertron. But it is very slow going. Like, it is super slow growing. Currently, we're waiting to try and get some science. There is none available on the planet, really. That is a rare occurrence. Eggs are being produced. So what is it? Again. Oh, that hurts. That really does hurt. It is the fact that the waste is just backing up constantly. Oh, right. Because I'm trying to get that back through there, the waste, the rot is basically getting stuck here. I hadn't considered that. I hadn't considered that. That's the problem with splitters as your filtration, is if they can't move the thing they're trying to split, they will simply stop. It's not an overflow, I guess, is what I'm saying. Whereas I sort of needed it to be an overflow. All right. Well, given that, then let me fix this, because that is a problem for me. That is actually a dire problem. I do believe that this can be burnt. Yeah, fuel value is actually quite high. Also, who dat? Oh, it's JD. Hello, mate. How you doing? Welcome, sir. How is your Factorio doing? I believe that you've got a much higher production on your Gleba base, but have you managed to set up the trains that you were wanting to set up? Uh-oh. Oh, that's fine. How to start doing anything remotely automated on Gleba, says Road Train. I'm sure you'll do fine, Road Train. Let's get a shout out for JD. There we go. Thank you so much for the raid, buddy. Trains, no, but I do have 69,000 jelly per minute. So that's something. That is something, yes. Yes, that is something. But the big question, how much mash are you getting per minute? Because 69 jelly, haha, very funny. But you and I both know that it's the mash that runs the factory. Okay, well, things are starting to move again now. 66. Ooh, that's not so great. That's not so great. I find that I go through mash obnoxiously faster than I go through jelly. Like so much faster. But understand, you know, take this from where it's coming from. I'm nowhere even close to that level of production of either jelly or mash. So, you know, but yeah, I find that it's the lack of mash that stalls my factory more often than anything else. In fact, jelly is quite often the thing that clogs my factory because I've got way more of that than I have of mash. How am I dealing with the stompers? Generally, just not enticing them. I try to distribute the production of spores across multiple farms far away, so it doesn't incur their interest as often. But then when they do show up, mines and rockets. Before that, I had a system like this. This is my pre-rocket turret defensive structure. And pre this, when I had enough production to be able to pop down enough turrets and such, I would have a line of turrets. Laser I barely used. Generally speaking, laser is... I haven't actually done it down here, but generally speaking, lasers were set to only care about like the wigglers. But I'd have a line of turrets, of gun turrets, some lasers for taking out the small fry, and a few walls to catch the small fry in like these cells. So if something died over this, all of the wigglers would be trapped, that would erupt out of them would be trapped and unable to get to the turrets. But most of the time I would do something along these lines. I would just have a line of power poles going out and then a single laser turret. And the reason I did that, well, actually, no, it didn't tend to be that far away. My bad. It would be one line out so that they were within range of my gun turrets. The only thing this laser turret is there for, distraction. It exists to distract stompers and have them focus on trying to stomp the laser turret. And while it's doing that, the gun turrets are shredding it. That's how I dealt with small and medium stompers. Oh, I have no problem with excess. That's what the end of the river is for. It goes over the waterfall and goes to the power plant. That's a good way of thinking of it, like a river. Yeah, because it's sort of a similar thing for me. I've got a flow, but I do try to recapture my fruit. I don't process it into jelly. I don't process it into mash unless I need it. And this is causing me some problems. So maybe I should just do that. I have considered it. I have considered just burning what I don't use, but then that goes against the idea of this map in particular, where my goal is to minimize how much fruit I collect to the fruit I need. So just burning it because it didn't get used up would be anathema to that ideal. Because it would just mean I would be constantly trying to get more fruit to replace the fruit that I was just burning for no particular reason. So right now I kind of need to fix this from clogging, because that is causing me huge problems. But it does seem to have somewhat improved. Yeah, it is marginally gotten better, but it does need to get fixed. I need a better way of getting the rot out of the system. And right now, when jelly nuts are in excess, it clogs this waste pipe. And that is not good, as one might expect. Simple way to fix it right now, because I don't have the time to be more elegant than this. We're just going to do this. Oh, that's already sorted out. This one then clogs that side, so... no, that wouldn't help it, actually. Basically, conceptually, I've gotten stuck with the idea that, I'll just use a splitter to filter things out, but I haven't accounted for the fact that if the splitter can't get rid of the thing that it's trying to filter, then it simply stops. It doesn't continue to let things that are not that thing through. It simply stops at that point. So really, these need to be more overflow systems. And so to achieve that end, I would need a regular splitter with a priority output here, so that if it can send that fruit out that way, it will. But if it can't send that fruit out that way, it won't care. It'll just get rid of it over here. Not the best system, to be certain, but it will do the job that I need it to do for now. pop that there. So this will try to recycle the fruit if it can. If it can't, it's not going to worry too much. And you know what? Let's do this a little bit more. A little bit cleaner. We're not going to side load. Want this filter. JD, do you do this with your splitters as well? Use some sort of like deconstruction plan or something that you can put in there that will never be on the belt to effectively say nothing ever leaves on this side. I do it like that because if things, I know it's achieved the same effect, even if there's just two items on this one little bit of the conveyor that'll never go anywhere. But knowing that they're there irritates me so much. So much. Unreasonably. Also, ZZ Phoenix 02, thank you very much for the 23 months, mate. And Silent Psychopath for the 24, and Vasanova for the 49. All very, very big numbers. Thank you. But there we go. That will effectively, it will try and recycle fruit, but if the fruit lines are clogged up, it will dump them. Eventually it'll get out of there. So that should take a little bit of strain off this, but honestly, it's just painful. It's just one thing I could do, actually. Ooh. Oh, man, why am I still doing stuff on Gleba? I got off the planet and now I'm back. I disapprove. So hard. I disapprove so hard. But I do have these. How about for the rot output? So I don't mind if these just hold on to the rot for a little while. That's fine. But from now on, rot only get output in stacks. That will alleviate some of the issue that I'm having. Because this way, all of those rot stacks will take up far less space on the in the waste pipe. Side loading an underground, you would never. Would you, Aavak? No, of course I wouldn't. That's a crime. It might not get you arrested, but you will be judged. In this life or the next. Oh, I can't do it on this one. That's a shame. No, I absolutely can. Oh no, I absolutely can't. Not easily, anyway. There we go. Yeah, they'll just hold on to it now until they've got enough to warrant moving it. And that is perfect for me. That does exactly what I want. Of course, I didn't have this tech when I was setting all of this up, so I'm not going to feel too bad about this one. Yeah, all of the rot inserters can now be upgraded such that rot is going to take up way less room on the conveyors. That should sort out one of the big problems for me. In a pretty elegant way, I would say. I may as well do them all. I was considering not. I'm sure I'll miss some, so chat, this is where you help us. You help me by and you help yourselves, really. It's not just me who's getting helped by this. You don't have to watch it as a consequence of this being done correctly the first time. So don't think of it like you're helping me. Think of it like you're helping yourself. Self-actualization, chat. You're stopping yourself from having to watch a broken system, knowing that you could have stopped it. I tried to put fish back in the water and it just rotted. Duffel fish, really? You of all people? Wasting fish? For shame. For shame. How can you go on like this? Man, this one was a mess. Trying to find every squirrely way to get the rot off that line. We'll hopefully not be here too much longer, chat. Sorry about this. Glieber is one of those places it's never going to completely let me go, I don't think. I think Glieber is like a pet. You don't just get it for Christmas. This is a commitment. Long-term commitment. If you're not willing to come back here and fix things on a near constant basis, then you shouldn't even have Glieber. Stay on Nauvis if you're not willing to do the work. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Well, there's this line as well. I should do that one too. Falgura will do the same, really, will it? I'm remotely fixing it. I'm remotely fixing Glieber right now. And this is the big reason why I spent an entire stream polishing Glieber before I left. Ugh, yuck. How did that happen? I'm sorry you had to witness that, chat. I was probably bleary-eyed me. Far too tired. There we go. Now on this side, I only want to remove the actual rot. So I specifically need to go for the inserters that are for rot, not the ones that are blacklist. Which is a bit of a change from what I've been doing up to now. Oh my lord. They are exactly the same, aren't they? Yes, they are. That means I could, if I wanted to, just copy. Is that what I'm going to do? No. Of course it's not. I'm going to do it the silly way, manually. There we go. We're very much in a famine cycle of this factory right now. My dream is that once we have the tech needed to clear up enough space to do this properly, we will at last be able to come on down here. Are you removing rock? Oh, that's the one that's removing rock. Yeah. And set out enough room for this to work correctly. Are we getting any closer with this side? No. At the moment, all that's there is just, sadly, jelly on the line. That's the only thing now that's built up. We are seeing more stacked rot though, and if we increase that technology, then we'll be able to fit more and more and more of it on the line, which will be a massive help for us. In fact, thinking about that, now that we've got that tech, why don't I go ahead and do that down here as well? We're actually producing a decent amount of it. Right, so now the only issue with the fruit is that I might not pick out a full handful, and these will only move it if it can move the whole thing. Now with rot, I don't mind because it'll just rot in the sorry, it can't convert from rot to more rot, but fruit absolutely can, sadly. So we will see this go a little bit south. The reason why that train hasn't brought anything is because there's no seeds available. There are seeds in the system, as we can see here, but this train needs to head out. I am very tempted to just turn off the 15 seconds of inactivity here, because this makes that stop so painful. Yeah, I'm going to update that to 5. Oh. That way, this particular scenario where it's just loading one thing every now... Because that's what it is, that I just don't have enough stuff built up to allow that to do a full run properly. Now, where are you off to? You're over to the jelly nut farm. Because this needs to be making these trips much more frequently, because it is how the seeds get to the farming towers. That's pretty much all it needed to bring, was the seeds. Irritatingly. But now the train, the farm is going to stop because the train's just left the station. But oh well, it is what it is. These will load, and hopefully we'll start seeing these trains moving around a lot more, a lot faster. Rosenkai, my nuts giving you trouble? Why did you say it like that, you scallywag? But hey, Aavak, was wondering if you run an elevated track that loops seeds, would it be able to be independent from the other rails? Also, can range grabbers grab from elevated track? No, I don't think they can load or unload onto or from an elevated track, no. I haven't tested that thoroughly, though. But I'm pretty certain that's not the case. And off we go. I think. Yes. Right, where are we headed to? Oh, good. We're actually going to see part of this be built. How rare. Oh, they have actually gotten power over here, which is nice. So, What we need to see is more of the conveyors being brought down here, though. You should be able to unload. Actually, there's conveyors in there. Why are they not being deposited over there, then? Oh, it's landfill that you wanted. Right, of course. And it's the lack of landfill that's preventing it from being able to actually lay the conveyors, get the bullets around the system. Of course, it doesn't help that that's pointing the wrong bloody way. Why does this keep happening? Easily the most annoying part of this. The amount of times that I look through this blueprint to try and get it facing the right way. I think it's just the way that I'm... Because the blueprint is this, they don't interact because they've got no anchor. I need to change the blueprint to have an anchor point so that it knows which way it's meant to face, because as far as the blueprint is concerned, these are two exit tunnels. It is deeply frustrating. Right. At least some of the turrets are now armed. It's a big upgrade over what we had. In fact, I think that... Yeah. Actually, that last bit of landfill right here is the only thing preventing all of the turrets that we currently have from being equipped. It'll be glorious once that works. All right, that's the last of the Gleba section for now. I say, with no confidence that's actually true. But we have massively reduced the amount of stuff that we're waiting on. So you know there is that. Also, I'm a little bit concerned that the need for stack inserters is going to be a problem. Means that one of the ones I replaced, I didn't have enough inserters for. I thought I did. I had like hundreds, but oh well. Clearly I used too many of those. Alright. Okay. Here we are. Alright. Now then. With regards to setting up that... Oh, yeah, no, I know, JD. I completely understand how to do a tileable blueprint. I did it with the mines, in fact. I just hadn't done it for the walls. And now I'm faced with the situation of, well, I could just re-blueprint the entire wall section, but I've already manually fixed it, so there's no point right now. But later on, I'm going to be complaining with against myself for that. Right, we want... Oh, actually, what's the first on the to-do list then? Migrate factory functions to module outpost. That's a bigger job than I want to do right now. Improve the dispatch layout. One station per train type. Yeah, no, that would actually work quite well. And improve the refuel layout. Or update the refuel interrupt. Honestly, I'm quite fond of the fact that the Gleben station uses has the refueling done at the depot and the dispatcher. I don't think we need to do that differently. It just seems to work. Rosanna says, super enjoying watching you play this game, though. Thanks for playing. You're more than welcome, mate. More than welcome. Yeah, I can see that train's out of fuel, but this train is not, and that's the problem with the refuel interrupt, is it's not caring about it. I need different fuel interrupts, basically. I mean, they're all running on nuclear fuel now, so it's a bit different. How about I make a bunch of fuel interrupts that would work on whatever fuel I have? and then it would, you know, refuel with what have you. But it's not going to be an issue here. But I want to see if it would have been possible to make just multiple fuel interrupts that would have worked. So refuel, but then mark what type of fuel it would have been. Let's say it was coal. So the coal refuel interrupt. Now our current refuel interrupt is not at the refuel station. Refuel station is not full. Those should be there. Actually, this one's already checking. Oh, that one should have been 0. So this one was already capable of handling coal and nuclear fuel. What does refuel... What's the difference between any locomotive? See, I would have assumed that that one would have kicked in, but I guess since that one is completely out, it didn't. And the problem with interrupts is they will only trigger when a train is leaving a station. So none of these trains will check for fuel until they're given a job to do and they have a reason for leaving the depot. So I think that is ultimately the problem. But yeah, no, I'd already set up that kind of interrupt there. But yeah, effectively, what we could have done here is just to check. Like, so if we're dealing with coal, if any of the locomotives are using coal, or I guess that one should be fuel all locomotives, because that's counting the entire train, whereas the other one is just counting any of the locomotives on it. So if the entire train has any coal and fuel any locomotive, so if any of the train's locomotives are below, I think the stack size is 50, so we could say if any of them are below 100, that means the second stack, it's burnt through an entire stack of fuel. Or I could just say if any of them are below 50, so, you know, we're eating into the last stack of fuel on any of the locomotives. But realistically, I would say 75. Let's split the difference. Then that would be your condition to go to the refuel depot. But in hindsight, I honestly think that having the dispatcher do all the refueling is the better way to do it. So let's make that our first job. Now, do I have gubbins for trains? I do not. You know, the other thing I want to do in a big way would be to sort out my logistics groups. Let me add that to the to-do list. I'll be right at the bottom though, but I think it's going to be a worthwhile one to do. There we go. So I'm going to take off the update refuel interrupt because I'm not going to be updating it. I'm going to be getting rid of it, in fact. And instead, I'm just going to make the depot, the dispatch, the refueling station. Now, currently, these lanes are how wide? They're too wide, I believe. Wide enough. It's absolutely wide enough for what I need. All of the cargo trains That's fuel depot. These are cargo depots. I mean, what we're doing down here is effectively we've got a very different setup for the one type of train that works like a bullet train. What I should realistically do is I should have a separate depot for that train and trains like it. And I'm kind of thinking about this in the same way that with regards to Glieber as well. So how about I design a new depot in its entirety? There would only be one cargo depot. The rest would be in stacking. One bullet train depot. And then one liquids depot. Oh no, Lady Sheila. So, going to the supermarket on Black Friday? Bad idea. Didn't even think about that. I did not even think about that. I think the stacker from now on is going to... I'm going to need quite a lot of stacking potential. Now, the beautiful thing about stackers is that I don't need them. I go one further down there? No, I don't think so. Nope. One back. There we go. That is perfect. I don't need them to be too large. Though, right now, the stackers would only be able to handle one of these trains each. And I'm going to kind of need a separate stacker for each type of station. So I'm going to need a separate stacker for the much smaller fluid train. I'm going to need a separate stacker for the much smaller bullet trains. And I'm going to need a separate place for the much larger regular cargo trains. Because Chad likes big trains. You can't blame them for that, really. I'd like to blame them for it, but you can't really. Not with a clear conscience. Especially because I gave them the choice. You know, that's on me. If I didn't want them to choose a certain way, I should have rigged the vote. I mean, I would never do such a thing. No, 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 no. There we go. Even the road on the way there was crazy. All the cars were pulling out in front of each other and beeping. Well, yeah. The worst thing is it's like Black Friday. Oh yeah, no, come and get all of the stuff that you didn't think you could afford, or you know, just go and grab the stuff you weren't even planning on getting. No, that's not a sale then. If you're buying stuff you weren't planning to buy, it's not a sale. They're just getting more money out of you than you were intending to spend in the first place. It's only a sale if it was something you wanted to start with. Give me a Black Friday for eggs and milk. That is a Black Friday I could get behind. Luckily, I think a lot of them were headed for the retail park rather than the supermarket. Yeah, no, exactly. Eggs are far, far too expensive for Black Fridays in this economy. Yeah, I know. It's just wild. Make the groceries cheaper. Make the stuff I actually wanted to buy cheaper. That's a sale. Making a wall-sized TV cheaper, that isn't a sale. I wasn't going to buy that anyway. And the people who now buy it because it's cheap, they're just spending money they would never have spent otherwise. Again, it's not a sale. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not good, you know, making these things available for people, but it's still not a sale. There's no version of this that is a sale. There we go. Right. So, can I scooch this through? I can. Hooray. Hooray for scooching. Would I be able to connect that up in any meaningful way, though? Unlikely. This is the earliest that it can connect up. But what if... Can this one connect? No. Maybe. It might be able to connect to the fluid line. In which case, this can be the fluid stacker. Yes, it can. Okay. Fluid stacker get. And since the fluid wagon is much smaller, it is only 5 carriages long. Let's make that a thing. Oh, I need to go into settings. Wish there was an easier way of doing this part. I do wish there was 5 carriages. So that would look like I could have one about here. Yep. And then another. So I'd be able to stack a couple of these, which is perfect. One there. There we go. So 2 fluid trains can fit into that stacker. That is ideal. Now, I think both of these are fluid depots, but I don't want them to be. I want the other one to be bullet train. We don't need many bullet trains. We will never need many bullet trains. So... But I might fit a few more in. We'll see. That one certainly connects up there. I could squeeze in another one. But that one is 1, 2, that's 6 long. Maybe I should actually, thinking about it, this should be 2 fluid. Sorry, my bad. This should be for 2 fluid things. Let's plan for the future. So that's the fluid wagons taken care of. Don't know how I'm gonna connect up the next row though. Let's grab one. Oh, really? There we go. I'm gonna need to go into settings and change that. Most of Black Friday sales are the best sales from throughout the year, all in one grand sale. I'm not actually sure about that. You might be right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that my gut says I don't think that lines up with what I've observed. But I've not really put enough thought into it. Or, well, no, it's not. It's the lack of thought. It's the lack of observation. I've not been paying enough attention to be able to line that up. Right, so... we want this one to be a bit further back, so I don't think we're getting 2 of these, sadly. That being said, maybe I can scooch one further down. It would have to be exactly here, which is a bit ugly. That being said, lines up. Huh, okay, never mind. We can, in fact, have one... extra one over on here. Put that in there. I'm really not sure what the nicest way of looking at this would be. Having the different length, the different types of stack is very visually distinct because of their differences in length. Or not. I kind of like the idea of them being very different visually. That just lines up for me. I can then see at a glance how much... that's an issue. Alright. Also, I've got a hair in my eye. How? How did that happen? Thanks. There we go. Apologize. Well, that was the way at the store that I worked at. There were new sales, but most of them were the same from throughout the year. Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't work. Could bring it back by 1. Would that be enough? Would be enough. Okay. Getting somewhere. All right. I can work with that. Yeah. Absolutely. So that will be the bullet train. Or trains. This junction is a nightmare, I know, but look, it's good enough. Good enough. Why are you the only one that's red? Oh, because that's... Oh, right. All of these can see this one line here. All right, so I'm going to change this to... a very special one. This is my bullet train depot. Remind me to update the bullet train to work on that. But first I need to get the rest of the stackers built. Because until then, this is only... There's a very broken stacker system. Maybe extend the other end of the track. I could absolutely do that. That is not a bad idea. Right now, I'm just going to get this laid out, though. But yeah, you're quite right. You're quite right. In the future, when I need to expand this further, I'm just going to push it further back. That is a very, very solid suggestion. But I will say, I'm a big fan of the different train lengths having very distinct little lines. Big fan of that, actually. Right, so from all the way down here, I'm going to need to hook this up. One too far. I do just like it when it's like, haha, too far to reach. It's like, but I was able to place it that far. Why can my arms only stretch one way? Nonsense. Do this in map mode because I'm super lazy. There we go, honk. And then this is for the for a 10 carriage. Why did I let chat do that? Why did I let chat do this? Why have we got a 10 carriage train? Our base is nowhere near capable of making use of that kind of throughput. What have I done to myself? The factory must grow. Only 10? Yeah, I know. Right, okay, so that's done. Now I simply need to copy that part. Over and over and over again. That was not what I wanted to do. Thank you. I had no part in this mess. If it was me, it would all be bullet trains with 3 cargo cars in the center. See, Sir Alusol speaks sense. I will say, however, watching a giant train rush past, it does give me nice brain thoughts. Good brain chemicals come from that. Reminds me of the times when I would stand on, not dangerously close to the edge of the platform. I'm not an idiot. Don't play with trains. Trains are much more dangerous than cars, and you shouldn't play with cars either. But I would stand forward of the, stand up, you know, towards the end of the station when a freight train was going through in Cardiff. That was a feeling. How many more of these could I place? Let's find out. No, I don't think that one works. Okay, so this one is a no. That is the last of... Oh, that was a mistake. That's the last of the stacks here. That's fine. Right, let's go back to the tank. I think Tonk has got a couple of rails in it. Mind the gap. I could send Tonk back to get me more rail supplies, considering. But I don't know, it feels less good than it does in like Torchlight when you send your ferret to sell your loot and then bring you back the gold. Because I'd have to drive Tonk remotely. I can't just give it a command and watch it make its merry way off to do my bidding. Far less enjoyable. I spent a good amount of my nights in my first year of uni listening to those trains too, because they went right past my bedroom window. I hated them. I see. Lady Sheila has very strong feelings about freight trains, apparently. Very strong. How dare they? He went on for so long. Yes, that's what freight trains tend to do. It's true. It is true. Okay, so I'm going to want deliveries of fuel to this place. I want to build for the future in which we don't need to bring this stuff down manually. And in that future, we would need a pass-through. Like that. We would also need, I guess, this right here. Not actually using that in that way. See, that's a very big number that's very scary, but it's mostly just mines exploding. We did lose a couple of turrets, though. We lost 6 gun turrets. I really don't think having the mines that close together is that useful for me, though. I suspect that is a big nope. We're going to need to adjust that minefield at some point. Well, eggs are getting through. You know what? Picking them up for... no, we need the bioflux. Is there ever any bioflux making it down this far into the system? There's a little bit, but it's getting used up by other things. Yeah, that's a problem. I honestly think, kind of feel that these two should be flipped around. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, consider placing single walls between the mines. Really, Sir Althasol? Would that actually help, though? I mean, I'm down for trying it, but how far? Oh, that... Yeah, that train does not get all the way through. So a large train delivering coal, nuclear fuel, whatever, would not easily make it through this system, which is a bit of a problem. Also, would we want to... Actually, thinking about it, you know what? No, that would be okay because nuclear fuel is a single item per stack, so a massive train of nuclear fuel isn't actually that much nuclear fuel. It isn't as stupid as that sounds. It's almost that stupid, but not as stupid as it sounds. Just shy of that stupid. I could have a nuclear fuel loading train over there on this side. I'd have to change this up a little bit though. So it was a beautiful assumption to be like, oh yeah, this is going to be fine, but no. I would need a pass-through track going around. I can make that happen. It's very jank, but I can do it. At the very least, the dispatch area is now functionally the same as it was. The next part... I think this would be the bullet train. And actually, yeah, all of this can be taken away, thinking about it. It's going to look less cool. But oh well. So yeah, these ones are as effective, and I lose so far fewer mines to it. Yeah, we'll sort that out. So, the way we'll do this is bullet train, liquid train, I guess regular depot, and all of these go away. There we go. That is not the correct one to have gone to. I get... Oh, actually, no. Wait. Oh, balls. You can get in there from there. Okay, I might need to undo that one then. There we are. These ones should be at the bottom. Right. Now, bullet trains, they've got a different setup. I dislike the way that I wrote these, so we're going to have 240 bullet trains. The depot I want you to go to is, in fact, this one from now on. And 5 seconds of inactivity. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, this one can get away. Yeah. I kind of need these to be spread apart so that they can't use the wrong stacker for it. So I very, very specifically need to measure them out such that they wouldn't be able to use that stacker under normal circumstances. There you go. And that works. I don't believe this train now has a route over here. And on that note, then, considering I needed to do that, I can move some of these around. Guess I don't need that then. Pro Jasper, just dropping by for the sub. Have a good stream, everyone. You take care, mate. And thank you so much for the 45 months. A huge amount of support. Right. So, my big question here is I need you to go to refuel. And then you should come back. But when you come back, you should go down to one of these stackers, I believe. We'll see. That one can only be reached by these. I could move these down, I guess. Such that this one could only be reached by these. And just have them each separated by a pass-through. I don't think that's a terrible idea, honestly. It's genuinely not a bad idea. In fact, let's take care of that right now. Kind of lines it up in quite a nice, aesthetically pleasing way. So I still wouldn't need to worry about this train being in the wrong spot. You go and refuel. Then you should head on back. Okay, so that gives me a pass through in a couple of places. But only 3 actual dispatcher stations. Now the big question is, can this specific line reach up there? I'm going to send you to refuel to test that. I'm going to send you to refuel to test that as well. Maybe I should keep a refuel option. Bullet train, yeah, that's the earliest it could take it, because it would have taken this one if it couldn't. That one is fine as well. Okay. All right, let's send you to refuel. This one wasn't actually sent to refuel. That just happened to be one of the trains that went down this route. There we go. Right, so now that I know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one can have a limit of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 again. These ones have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Stacker is working correctly. All right. So now all I need to do, I kind of want to move these around a little bit. I just want to move these down by 1 because that keeps that sort of feel to it then. I know I don't need to. Absolutely don't. But I sort of do want to. Now, connecting it up, though, is going to be a chore if I do that. Yeah, it really will be a chore. It'll be a huge chore, so I guess we're not going to have that beauty. Sad, but there we are. That would be something that we could improve on later. For now, this is laid out in a sensible way for me. Now, moving this along would be better. This one doesn't use the dispatcher in the same way. This one is simply constantly looking for a station that wants it. That's all it is. I need to redesign that so that it works in a way that is more in line with the rest of the dispatcher. Also, I don't need the counter anymore. And the reason why I don't need the counter is because there's only ever one train in the station. It can happily just cycle through the desired ones. I don't think there's a particular issue with that. Yeah, this one's never going to try to go to a cargo station. These are never going to try and go to a fluid station. So I literally just need to send that signal down the green wire. That is purely it. That is significantly easier. Of course, I want to... Oh, that's the wrong type of combinator there. I'm going to go and grab... Have we got an arithmetic combinator here? We do. Yoink. All I need this to do is anything coming through on one side, add nothing to it, and output it on the other side. And all that does is allows me to sanitize the inputs, basically. And you all know how much I like sanitizing those inputs. That reach? No. Sad. What I could do then is just have one of these in between. Just to carry the signal. Oh, really? Okay. It's fine. Move across by one. There we go. That has significantly simplified the dispatcher wiring. We just receive a signal from a station that has something that we want to pick up. Currently, oil is available to pick up, but nowhere needs it. So... Well, actually, no. So somewhere needs it, but nowhere is offering it. Yeah, that one isn't ready. Okay, so now I just need to set up the loading, and since I know the shape, the shape of the trains, or the dimensions of the trains, I can set that up very easily. Do I not have any better inserters than these? Huh. I don't. That's a little bit annoying. Actually, never mind. There is no reason for me to have better inserters than those. Okay. Behold, the wild Aavak, a most unusual species. This mustelid will create some of the most complex burrows with many twists and turns and false paths to confuse predators. But eventually, it too gets confused and then begins to collapse parts of its old burrow to start the entire process all over again. My lord, how dare! Though if I had to be compared to any creature, I guess a mustelid. There are quite a few fantastic selections in the Mustelidae family. I will say, however, and I realize that some people are going to be like, but that's cheating. How dare you, being unfaithful. But hear me out. Pangolin. Pangolins. Yeah, lost nothing there. Actually, thinking about it, these will be very useful for hooking up to the power. And before I get run over by doing this. Wouldn't even be mad, I'm going to be honest with you. There we go. Alright, that brings power to everything I need. Big question. Is it, How am I going to feed the fuel up there? I guess we would want to stop unloading the fuel down here. But I really don't need many chests for it. Like, I really don't need many. So I guess one per carriage would be enough. That would be enough nuclear fuel to run this system for an incredibly long time. So I could have a cargo drop off here. Be ugly as sin, though. And there's way too much cargo drop off. But it would do what I would need it to. Just place it down. The drop-off will be for specifically nuclear fuel. Train limit will be Juan. Then I'm going to have to tear down most of it. Because the vast majority of this system is surplus to demand. Yeah, I'm just going to pull down the the unloading sections on both sides. So I've just got a pristine station. I should honestly blueprint just a pristine station. No loading, just the station itself. Oh, it was offset by 1. Ugh. Okay, I'll just need to move it then. It's fine. There we go. Right. Do I have more gubbins over here? I sadly do not. Okay. Also, I could use provider chests for this. But then I'd need a bot network down here. and I would rather not have to. So we will forego the loading functionality of this area. Right, okay, let's move all of this across by 1. Oh, apparently I can't. Oh no, I sort of can, but not quite the way I want, so I'll just move this instead. Because I want that to line up correctly. Right, I'm going to need to go and grab a load of gubbins to help build this. In regards to the amount of mines you lose in the other locations, I think the problem is not that the mines set each other off, but more that the enemy in question is making it to the next mine before it dies, so you're burning more of the mines before you finish killing the enemy. Yeah, no, that's one of the big things with that. Yeah, I do need to resolve that for myself. Since the train doesn't perfectly align, which is an issue. I wonder, if I were to just remove it, could I remove these as well? Nah, it just places the train station one step over. It's a shame, but oh well. Not the worst thing in the world. Oh, that's really not nice. Why would you even give this as an option to the game? No. Refuse? We will do this further back. Much further back if I have to. There you go. Now, as for you... That's where the train stops, sadly. So I'm just going to pop this way back here. No, sorry. I'll just pop it there. It's fine. Right, so that gives me my unloading station, and this should be able to use any of these branches to get back out, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then I just need to unload from it. So, to that end, I'm going to need to go and grab some chests. 1 per carriage. Doesn't need to be more than that. Not for the fuel unloading station. Making the fuel loading station is going to be a potch, but we'll get that done in a moment. Imagine being the person who has to operate all those switches. I would rather not. We're so far in the it's AI. It's all AI. No human intervention necessary. Are we actually making blue belts here? I don't think we are, you know. No, we never got up to blue belt. Oh, wow. Oh, I wanted to put down a radar down there as well, didn't I? Let me go and grab a quick copy of my Gleben radar systems. Though honestly, I could greatly enhance the system if I really wanted to. In fact, there's a part of me that just wants to slap a 2 radars in there. Yeah, I'm just going to redesign it. So, the redesign system will look thus. Going to want to line up the radar. Maybe. Or do I want to make it very intentionally not perfectly aligned? I'm perhaps a little bit too close to this because that's going to be a very awkward drive to pull away without hitting any of these. I forget how many... what's the output? 60 kilowatts, and this needs 300 kilowatts. Oh, so this is more than enough power then to run all of them. With ample to spare. So given that, I could instead throw down the accumulators on the far sides. You make me sad, game. Genuinely don't need this setup over there anymore. There we go. New independent radar system. Plenty of oomph in that one. So I'm going to want accumulators as well, and radars as well. I really like what we ended up doing in Gleba. That was super fun. Alright, so I'm going to make a new blueprint for this. This one will be... Since it is built for Nauvis's solar output, I'll pop this one in. Nauvis radar. Actually, I could just have... solar radar. That should be good enough. There we go. Hello. Actually, I guess I can't afford to have that in there, sadly. So I'm going to need the planet icon here instead. There you go. Now I can strip all that down. Alright, let's go and set up the standalone radar. Because, you know, distracted by shinies. As I want to be. Can't wait to see how Aavak deals with Fulgoran spaghetti. Well, we're probably going to be a while before then. Well, maybe by the end of this stream we'll be heading over. I don't know. It's a possibility, but I'm not gonna tell you to hope for it. All right, let's pop down the new radar about here. I think should be fine. Probably don't need it here realistically, like at all actually, but. There we go. And while I'm here, I'll go and collect this. Yep. We're still waiting on a couple of entities. Oh, are they outside the range? Oh my lord, that's why. They were just outside range. Okay, well that sorts that one then. These are legitimately, you know, waiting for a train to bring that stuff over. Ooh. Is that not within range? Ooh, okay. Let me fix that then. I'll take care of that eventually. And there we go. Stack inserters everywhere they need to be. Interesting. You know, maybe no. You know what? This system wasn't the best. I'm simply burning the fruit for no particular gain here. Yeah, that's actually completely clogged the system. That is unfortunate. So no, that can't be allowed. Annoying. So I'm going to have to find another fix for that then. Because that is going to cause eggs to decay on this line. And that is terrifying. Oh, that's going to be bad. We'll just throw down some quick protection. Well, that is actually genuinely rough. I'm just going to tell you, pick up whatever you can. Gone from one problem to the next. Okay, starting to move out now. And I believe that, yeah, that filters eggs. So the moment the eggs get here, they'll get filtered off and burnt. But, oof, that was, oh, this, oh my God. Why? Why have you done this to me? Yeah, the eggs can't get down there. And that is the egg route, so... Just gonna have to give eggs a priority bus. Dear Lord. That's just horrifying. Well, it's off to the furnace with you, children. No, can't be helped. Children yearn for the furnace, so I hear. But yeah, that fruit, refeeding the fruit caused issues. Big issues. I think it's because I'm double stacking them. Yeah, it is. That is causing big problems. Got more than enough temp down here. That's not an issue. This is normally for rocket fuel, but this one is now doing that job. So I don't actually feel that... This one's checking for the contents. And whether it should load. And I'm... No, God damn it. I didn't mean to do that. I'm simply going to disable that. You're allowed to load whatever. This will never load rocket fuel in there, so just go ahead, get rid of whatever you can. The reason I had that limiter there is so that eggs could always get into the system. There we go. And once again, we're stuck with this problem where I'm burning fruit instead of eggs. Maybe I just need an incinerator for eggs alone. That probably would be a solution. A dedicated egg incinerator. Alternatively, I could read whether there are any eggs in there. Enable if... yeah. Eggs equal to 0. So if there are no eggs burning in the system, then this is allowed to load it with whatever random gubbins it's got. That solves the problem. I'm not quite sure what it's got jammed over here. Yeah, it is just the jelly nuts that I use far, far less than anything else on the belt. The other thing I could do is if jelly nuts get down here, I could convert them into the mash or the jelly and then load it onto this. That might not be a terrible use of the system, as it would allow the it would allow me to get something out of the jelly nuts. Since I believe that this is 1 megajoule, I use... Well, actually, no, the jelly nut itself is 10 megajoules. How much do I get out of it? Well, I'd get the seeds. That's what I would get out of it. I reduce the fuel value of the jelly nuts, but I will get the chance of getting extra seeds out of the process, so I wouldn't be wasting the seeds. Ken says, if the factory stalls when there are too many things to rot, why not have heating towers that are only used to burn rot in those lines to clear them quickly? Well, I mean, that's effectively what this is for. You don't want to always get rid of rot, because rot is used in a lot of the different recipes, so you don't want to just burn it all because, you know, you've got too much. Rather, you want to only take it out when there's an overflow. But the problem that I'm having here isn't the rot, it's the fruit. The fruit is stalling the system. Effectively, I need to stop taking fresh fruit in and only process the fruit that's already here. That may actually be all I needed to do. That will make me cry a little bit, if that is the case. That one setting. Sometimes it's the smallest detail. There we go. I'm giving priority now to fruit that's already in the system to get reprocessed through it. Which does mean that this fruit will start rotting, but it'll also mean that I'll go out to the farms a little less often. How are we doing down here? Getting there. It's not quite where I want it to be, but it's getting close. Once that's completely finished, I will open that farm up for business. So this one will stop producing as many spores. Rosenkai said Aavak is checking the nuts for seed. Chat is talking like I'm playing Scorn or something. How dare. So there we go. Things are moving now. A little bit is being let in every now and then, and that's all I need. I'm surprised we've not got any ammo down here, but I guess the system has been stalled for a little while. Huh. Not sure why that is broken. As for the ammo, though, yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that. What am I lacking? Copper. Yep. Complete lack of copper going on right now. Which is due to a complete lack of bioflux. Though I'm seeing a lot of bioflux getting out onto the belt, though. Why is this one not starting? This one lacks jelly nuts. Why is that? Can't get rid of its rot? Oh, no! Noted. Okay, I see the problem. What I need here, use filters. Actually, no, I need that to not be there. And this to be... No. This one needs to be use filters, seeds. Well, that is quite the problem. These got jammed holding onto seeds. Now, when something can only have rot as the output, that's fine. But when something can have two things as the output, not quite so. So I'm going to need to go through and change that in all of these. Oop. That sucked. In no uncertain terms. It's fine. I hope. These new bulk inserters are great in so many ways. But there are a few ways where they are actually mostly just a pain. Okay, now I need to do the same on this side. My lord, they need a lot of mash, don't they? I could probably just copy a bit. Once again, not gonna. I need to grab the jelly nuts. Yeah. But yeah, that is just a demonstration. I did it for education, chat. Just wanted to show you how easily you could break your system. But yeah, no, that is fully just not thinking about how there were multiple outputs. How that recipes with multiple outputs really break the stack inserters. But there we go. The system should come back online now. Chat, we have left Gleba. We will return when I can blow up the factory and build something better. Also, Aavak. Chat, my factory on Gleba broke when I stopped looking at it. We need to go back. Shut up. We're not back there. One of your biofactories is jammed because nutrients rotted whilst in the hand. Can you tell me where that happened? Oh yeah. Nope, that one didn't. Is that perhaps what you were looking at? The overlap of the stack inserter and this one? I'll just do a double check though, just in case. Doesn't take me long to do. Oh, that's an output one. Need to just clear the seeds out of these hands for now. Otherwise they'll never empty. Let's actually make sure that's the case down here. Yeah, no, I do need to still empty these out manually first. All I did was replace the inserters. I didn't... Oh. Ah, right, okay. Let's grab these. That's all fine. All of those appear to be fine. Yeah, what seemed like such a promising fix has caused so much upheaval over here. All fine. Glad I did check. I very clearly had not been thorough enough. There we go. Okay, I saw the thing now, how to explain where it was. Okay. That was a while ago. There's a long hand inserter to the south. This one? Excuse me. Is that what you're looking at again? Where this is just overlapping it? I do apologize for coughing in your ear, chat. My bad. Or that one, maybe? That might have been it, yes. Yeah. No, it's a very easy mistake to make on that one, no worries. Thanks for pointing it out, though, just in case. Because that would have sucked if I moved away from it, not realizing. Alright then. You aren't carrying anything. You're not carrying anything. Aha! I muted the mic that time. You're welcome, chat. What a palaver, eh? There you go. That's weird. When you go into these after setting them up to remove something, it doesn't show that it's there, and you can't click anymore. Like, it doesn't update it anymore, rather. Ah, almost missed you, didn't I? Yep, there we are. In many cases, only one side actually needs to be jammed as well, because if the jelly nuts jam, for example, then it doesn't matter if the mash is still free-flowing. Ooh, wait. Yeah, no, that's still working. This is all jelly nuts down here. This side is purely for getting iron bacteria, since I was using so much more of it. All right. That should hopefully bring the system back online. We will, of course, see how it goes. Let's follow this bioflux around the loop. See where it's getting stuck. It's currently being kidnapped by... the sulfur production, really? Interesting. Okay, it's getting past that now. It's getting past the rocket fuel. It's getting past the lubricants. It's getting past the carbon fiber. Still being yoinked down here, though. So it's getting down to the production of the artificial soils. Right, I see. So, somewhere along the line, that stopped being carried across to these, which is causing this to constantly pick things up, which it shouldn't be. That should be whether there is an X is equal to 0 or not. How that got set up incorrectly, I will never know. That way, because this isn't producing anything, we shouldn't have been constantly pulling things in there, and we were. And therein was the problem. It looks like it's... yeah, no, I set that one up after everything else. So that is likely where some of the problem was occurring. That's a shame. because that would have just been constantly using up the bioflux and the nutrients, because this would never have created an internal supply of bioflux for this to use. Because that's the idea, is that eventually there's an internal supply of bioflux and it'll just make use of that instead of pulling from the line. There we go. Science is back online now. That has been a problem long in the making. Okay. Things seem to be somewhat functional now, so we can probably go back to Nauvis. Okay. Alright, that done. Let's get back to setting up the refueling. Also, let's have a look at... Oh, my lord, I'm an hour past my tea break. What the heck? Huge fan of your YouTube content. Never thought to look for you here. Thanks for all the amazing stuff. Oh, that's very lovely of you to say, Arian. Or is there Aaron? I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm not sure how to pronounce any names. Names are my Achilles heel. Along with letters and other things that I can't quite wrap my head around. But thank you very much. That's such a lovely thing to say. Ooh. That was an uncommonly bad attack. Lost 7 guns to that. It's okay. We got... Ooh. Are you coming down here? No. I can always send a tank out to deal with things if I need to. I'd rather not have to, but... It's an easy one to do. I could very easily clear that nest. I'm wondering if it is still landfill that's preventing these from being placed. I'm going to assume it is. So I really would rather wait for that to all be done first. And with the constant drop-offs of stone, it shouldn't be too much of an issue on the whole. What I will do is I am going to upgrade these to stack inserters. There's almost no reason not to. On something like that, at the very least, on the unloading. Right, there we are. Everything is working again. Oh my lord, it's been a while. The factory's come back to life. Happiest of days. We might even start seeing some more progress being done on the Spidertron. Imagine that. Science, chat. It's been a long time. Very long time. Alright, so when we come back off tea break, because we are going on one in a moment, I need to set up a train. First, I'm going to get rid of all of the... Oh, actually, thinking about it. I'm going to get rid of the refuel area in its entirety. And I'm going to replace this with just a nuclear fuel loading area. Yeah, that seems like it'd be very, very simple for me to do. Just yoink all of this out. Have this line bring down nuclear fuel to a loader. Have just a loop. Get rid of that line. And then I need to set up the unloading station properly for the fuel at the depot. Actually, maybe I should do that one first. Let's make it so that the once I've completed the loading station, the whole system is primed. So we'll set this up correctly to unload the fuel into the waiting trains. I could even load them here, but I don't know if they're going to be stopped here for any length of time, so it makes more sense to load the waiting trains. And then set up the station. I think that shouldn't be too difficult for us to do, and that's going to knock off 2 things off our to-do list, actually. In fact, I've already done this one, but sure, we'll do that for a little dribble of dopamine. All right, so once that's done, sorting logistics groups, maybe? Or possibly, maybe setting up a proper blueprint for my trains. Maybe I should actually go out there and clear up some of these nests. They're getting a little bit angry, aren't they? So that might also have to be added onto the list. But we'll see. Where would you like to be watching, chat, for the tea break? Do you want to watch Gleeber? Possibly this place, which is constantly getting stomped. see how well it can handle itself? Or would you like to go to Nauvis? Would you like to follow one of the trains? I mean, the trains on Glebe are very active, so that's not a bad one. You want to watch the Stompers. Okay, well, I don't know if it's going to happen too frequently over here, but we'll kind of position the camera about there. What do you think? Glebe. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going on my tea break. I urge you to get up, stretch your legs, grab yourselves a drink, and when we return, getting back on with some stuff on Nauvis. See you soon, chat.